Dance Arts of Columbia provides fitness fun for everyone from 3 years old to adults. Dance Arts is a good environment where the friendly staff makes you feel comfortable. Dance Art feels that dance is an art form that you can experience firsthand by learning tap, jazz, modern, musical theater, lyrical, and ballet. Dance Arts urges you to enjoy a sense of accomplishment while getting fit and having fun. For class information, call 875-1569. Dance Arts of Columbia, serving Columbia since 1979.
Good morning and welcome to Radio Friends on Monday, September the 8th. We've got my good friend with us, Vera Nichols. Good to have you here, Vera.
Good morning.
It really is always a pleasure to have you on here.
Well, I'm excited to come too.
Yeah. Now, we're talking about mindful living today, right?
Yes.
Okay. What is mindful living?
Well, that's living our lives with a little more awareness.
Okay.
Because a lot of us are kind of running on autopilot. Mm-hmm. We get kind of stuck in ruts of behaviors and thoughts, and sometimes they serve us well and sometimes they don't.
Yeah.
And so we know that if we can be a more mindful, more aware person, then we tend to be less reactive to things that happen in our lives. Mm-hmm. We tend to be more open to things that happen in our life and less judging.
So maybe instead of just doing something because you always did it and it becomes second nature to you, stop and think, can I maybe do this a little bit differently or not do it at all?
Yeah, particularly if, now some things may be serving us well. You know, we may have some practices in our lives that are going well. So for me, my daily walks, I'm not sure I want to change those, but I do try to change how the walk goes. So I don't walk it the same way because it changes your perspective when I go down the path one way and then come back around the lake in a different way. And I think the other thing, by being more aware in our lives, we can also have a little more compassion for ourselves and for others when those challenges arise, and they will. I think that if we can look at things that happen in a more curious way, well, you know, isn't that interesting that this has happened, versus, oh my gosh, this has happened, or why did this happen, and trying to figure out, you know, why, and spend all that energy.
Yeah, I always kind of look at things that they happen for a reason.
We could view it that way because they have happened.
Yeah.
And many times in life, part of our stress is not accepting things that have happened that are beyond our control.
Right. And sometimes when something happens and you're upset about it, a set of circumstances start into motion, and you find that something really good came out of what you thought was bad.
But you had to be open to that.
That's right.
You had to be open to it. And so one of the things that I like to think about is you have a jar. And you want
have a
jar or
okay.
a vessel of some sort, and you want to fill it with water. Well, it starts one drop at a time.
Right.
The first drop doesn't fill that jar. It's important. It's not the most important. It's each drop that's added. And if we think about our lives, it's just not one thing that creates a healthier, happier lives for us. It's many little things. And all together, you know, with intention, what are those little things that we can do to create a healthier life, not only physically, but mentally, and our connections with others, and nurturing our spirit. But it takes conscious intention. And when we're on autopilot, we may get stuck in ruts that don't open us to other possibilities.
Yeah.
And oftentimes, two areas that we are involved in every day in our lives are eating and physical activity. And so sometimes it's good to step back, because many times our eating practices and our physical activity, or lack thereof, could be reflective of how the rest of our life is going. And so I'm going to be doing some programs in the community on mindful living and focusing on mindful eating and mindful movement. And we find that when...
Okay, go back a minute now.
Yes.
Mindful eating. Let's touch on that.
Okay. Well, most of the time we're mindless eating. Mindless, where we just eat. We don't recall that we've eaten the whole bag of chips when we maybe are distracted by being on a device.
Okay, so something is put in front of you and you just start eating automatically.
And not even noticing what you're maybe eating. Mindful eating is really being aware of what it is you're eating.
Maybe slowing down a little bit while you eat.
Noticing things.
Yeah.
So for me, and we've talked before about fresh produce with all of its color and textures, is to notice that food and note, how does it taste? How does it smell?
Yeah.
That's a different kind of focus with the brain versus just eating for the purpose of eating.
And you know something else when you talk about mindful living, Vera, is noticing the beauty that's all around us.
Yes.
When we had the rain last week, then the sun came out, and I was looking at the trees, and they were the leaves were all coated with water, and there were little drops of diamonds falling from each leaf as it was coming through the sunlight. And I looked at that and I said, I am so thankful that I'm alive today to be able to see this beautiful work of nature and of God, of what He's produced.
And you know, Paul, that is exactly what mindful living is all about, is just taking notice of that moment.
And if you look at the little things, the little things around you, look at a flower, look at the dew on the flowers, on the petal of the flowers in the morning.
That changes how the brain works. We're looking at things in a positive way versus some of the other ruts that that we allow the thoughts to take us. So we can cultivate being more mindful in positive ways through eating. The other way is through physical activity. And you can explore different types of physical activity. I mean, walking is something I enjoy, but also we become aware through our aging process that maybe we're not as flexible as we used to be. Maybe our balance isn't as good as it used to be. Well, with that awareness comes the choice that maybe there are some things that I can do in moving that can assist me. You know, Qigong, Tai Chi, yoga are all mindful movements that look at the breath, focusing on the breath and the movement as a way to be more mindful.
Okay.
And
if people are interested in the class, when are the classes?
they'll start in October and November next month.
Okay.
And there'll be a series of them. People can sign up for 1, 2, 3, but they can call our University of Missouri Extension Center here in Boone County, 573-445-9792.
445-9792, and as we say, always like to say, operators are standing by right now. She's got a bank of about 50 operators with the headsets on.
They're ready, and they will send them information. They'll send them a link or give them the details. But mindful living.
All right, Vera, thank you so much. It's always a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you, Paul.
Tomorrow, we got music with the Boone County Hams. Our program directed by, they're singers.
Oh, good.
Okay. Our program directed by Travis McMillan of the Reynolds Journalism Institute. Audio is Pat Akers from KVIA. Our floor director is Lowell Thomas, and our assistant producer and guest coordinator, Uncle James Mounts. If something you'd like to hear, drop me an email. Bye-bye.